Alright, we're going to talk about some training costs and kind of calculating, and it depends on the situation. There's all different ways to calculate. So you just have to really pay attention to what it says in the information and go from there. In these, we're talking about release time benefits. And that's when you're paid your regular work hours, even though you might not be at work. You're away at a training. And so that happens quite often. They may want you trained on something, but they will pay you to do it. Some of the things that they will pay you is cost of release time. Again, cost of release time is your regular pay while you're not at work doing this training. The cost of instruction, so the price of the class, the price of supplies, the price of books, anything involved there. And then there's additional costs. Now that could be anything. That could be food. They can pay your food, they can pay your travel, all of those different types of things. It just depends on the situation. So really, finding total training costs, you're just adding the training costs together. You may have a fairly simple question like this first one here. It says, Margaret Siegel's company released her from regular work to attend a 4-hour seminar. Her release time for the day from the company was $165, so that's her regular pay that she would have made while at work. The seminar instruction was $190, so that was the cost of the class, and she spent $28 on supplies. What was the total training cost? Now this is a pretty straightforward one. They gave us each of the costs. We just have to add them all together. So we add our 165, our 190, and our 28. And when you do that, we get a total of $383. Okay, let's try one that's a little more challenging. Okay, here's a company. They are also holding a training seminar. They invited 4 employees, so that makes it a little more complicated because we now have more than just one person who's doing this. They invited them to attend. The employees were paid their regular wage of $80. Notice that's per person. Okay, so down here where we're doing our totaling, so far we have 4 wages at $80 a piece. So their pay, there's 4 of them, and it was $80 each. Okay, let's continue on. Lunch was provided at a total cost of $92. So we don't have to do those separately. They already totaled that, so we just add another $92. Okay, they didn't say per employee. That's for everyone. The seminar's instruction fee was $500. Okay, again, that is a total. That's not per employee, so we can just add the $500 as we're totaling these up. Supplies and equipment for the program were $15 per person. So again, we had 4 people. That was a per person fee. So 4 people, $15 a person. We're going to calculate this. Let's do our multiplication part first. So 4 times 80 gives $320 for the wages for everyone, plus our 92 plus 500 plus 4 times 15 is $60 for the supplies. Then we just have to go ahead and add those together. So we add 320, 92, 500, and 60, and we get a total of $972 for this training session. Okay, so that was a little more complex. Let's shake it up again. Take a look at this one. Okay, an auto company held a, we're going to run into some important information here. This was a 4-day training, and it was for 30 people. Okay, it says all employees were paid their regular wage for the time they were released from their regular work. These wages totaled $8,226.35. So that tells us we don't have to monkey around with that amount at all. Okay, they already totaled the wages for all 30 employees for all 4 days. Okay, we're going to add that to whatever comes up next in this. Refreshments and lunch were served at a cost of $52.50 per person each day. Oh man. Okay, so we had $52.50 was the price for their food, but that was per person, so we have to take that times 30 people, and it was for each day, so we had 4 days worth, so we take $52.50 times 30 and then times 4 to get that total. All right, let's continue on, see what else we can find. The instructor who conducted the training charged $500 per day. So again, it was $500, but that was for each day. So we had a $500 fee for 4 days. And we carry on. Supplies and equipment for the program totaled $10 per person. So $10 for each person. It doesn't say per day, so we just have to take the $10 times the 30 people. And we're almost to the bottom. Travel expenses for the group totaled $22,457.63. So that again was a total. It wasn't per person per day. So we're just going to add that amount to our total also. I ran out of room, however, so it's going to look kind of funny. So we're also going to add this $22,457.63. Okay, let's do all of our multiplications. So anywhere we had to finish out multiplying, like here, 5250 times 30 times 40. Okay, so here we're going to have the 8,226.35. That's not going to change. The 5250 times 30 times 4 is $6,300 for food. Plus, we had the $500 times 4 is $2,000. Plus, the 10 times 30 is $300. Plus, our total travel expenses of $22,457.63. Alright, we've done all our simplifying. Now all we have left to do is add those numbers together. Again, you might want to double check, do it twice, just to make sure you get the same answer both times and did not hit a wrong key or make a simple error. When we do that, we get $39,283.98. Okay, so again, that was more complex. You just have to go carefully through each section of the information and go from there. Let's do one more. Okay, here are 3 nurses. Okay, so we want to make a note of that. There's 3 people. They're attending a seminar for how many days? 2 days. The travel expenses for each nurse, that's for each one, is $1,265. So I'm going to make a note of that. Okay, so there were 3 people and their travel expenses were $1,265 a piece. So that's my first thing that I know about. Additional expenses per nurse per day are listed as the total training costs. Okay, so per person per day. There are 3 people and it's a 2-day conference. So each of these we're going to take times 3 and times 2, or 3 times 2, which is 6 if you prefer that way. So we have our release time would be 2 times 3. Okay, 2 days, 3 people, $280 a person. Plus instruction, again, 2 days, 3 people, $75 a person. We multiply those. Meals, 2 days, 3 people, $80 a person. And finally supplies, 2 days, 3 people, and $244 in supplies. Now I'm doing all of these times 2 times 3 except for the first one. It's just times 3 people. Let's do those calculations. Okay, so take out a calculator, go ahead and multiply each of those things. The first gives us $3,795. The second one gives us $1,680. Our third one there gives us $450. The next one we get $480. And finally on the end down there, $1,464. All we have left now is to total those numbers. We just have to add them together and we will be done. When I add them together, I get $7,869 for my total fee.